My name is Erin Vogel, and I work for the Dow Chemical Company in our Industrial Coatings Research and Development Group within Dow Coating Materials.
Hi, my name is Chrissy Stewart. I'm with KTA Tater. I've been in the coatings industry for about 10 years. I'm a senior chemist in the analytical lab at KTA, and I deal largely with coating failures and compositional testing.
My name is Kristen Leonard. I work for Bechtel Corporation in our oil, gas, and chemical office in Houston, Texas. Been with the company for about 8 years, started right out of college, and I've been active in SSPC ever since then.
My name's Allison Kalin. I'm with AB Kalin LLC. I've been in the industry approximately 30 years as a regulator, a consultant, and now an independent business owner.
Hi, my name is Laura Bleckel, Executive Director of Business for Deco Coatings out of Indianapolis, Indiana, an industrial coating contractor. I've been in the industry for 13 years and truly love what I do as a young professional woman.
Hi, my name is Gail Warner. I recently retired from the shipbuilding industry where I worked as an engineer for 33 years. I was responsible for coatings on the aircraft carriers, both new construction and overhaul.
I'm Lydia Frenzel. I'm the Executive Director of the Advisory Council. I started in the coatings industry in the early 1970s, making organometallic tin compounds, which have been around so long that they've been banned from existence, and worked in the nuclear coatings industry. So I am one of those old sleepers that keep just coming along and finding new things to do.
Hi, I'm Cindy O'Malley. I work with KTA Tater Incorporated, where I've been for 20 years as the Consulting and Laboratory Services Manager. I've been in the protective coatings industry for approximately 20 years.
I believe one of the significant barriers is actually how women view themselves. I've been told that men often apply for jobs because they think they can do something, and women often wait and make sure they can demonstrate the ability to do it before actually doing it. So confidence in ourselves is utterly important into getting and advancing up in our careers.
I think one of the issues that would be a significant barrier to female leadership is that oftentimes people believe that women aren't tough enough to lead. And I do recognize that there are certain masculine or feminine leadership traits or personality traits that people may have, but just because somebody may relate to someone in a more feminine way doesn't mean they aren't capable of making tough decisions or being able to foster change and growth in the industry.
I personally believe it's not a male versus female scenario anymore. I think women are just as capable as men taking on leadership roles. The big key is defining who you are as a leader, regardless of what gender you are. Leaders have to be able to adapt to different situations, and it's finding the right type of leader for your group, your company, and even more specific than that, but for each different role, that leader is going to have to be able to adapt to the situation. And that's not a male or female thing, it's a natural born and learned experience. So it's a little different, and you can't pinpoint, in my opinion, gender relation to that.
So one of the things that I think is really important is the willingness and ability to ask for things that you need. For example, when I recently had a baby and I needed to attend a conference relatively soon after I had that baby, I didn't think I was going to be able to go. Yet I was able to ask my boss if I could bring someone with me so that I could actually take my child with me, and they thought it was important enough that I went, and so they helped me arrange the travel. My mom came with me. I could attend the conference and still be back with my child, and so I think it's just the confidence and the willingness to ask, because often they're very amenable to different situations that you just have to provide a solution for them.
I really didn't overcome all of the roadblocks in my career, but what I tried to do was to make the best of the opportunities that came up. I tried to network with other people, both men and women, in engineering and in other departments in my company and in other companies that I dealt with. I also thought it was very important to get all of the training I could so that I would be the expert in the field and the go-to person. Because I found that once I had technical credibility, they really didn't care if I was a woman. You know, they needed somebody to help them and to answer the questions, so they would come to me. So toward the end of my career, you know, my name sort of became synonymous with paint on the carrier, and they would come to me, and they didn't really, I didn't see any roadblocks there.
You know, yes, and back home in Indiana, there's an association that is a construction association of 233 members strong of specialty trade subcontractors and general contractors, mostly males. And I was nominated to serve on the executive committee position, and as a young professional female, it was a little daunting, and I was surprised. But I was actually elected by a fellow mentor. So that was a true inspiration to me to take on challenges and put myself into those surprising situations that I wouldn't necessarily volunteer myself for. So.
One thing that actually surprises me is the lack of support from other women. I've found in my career that men are often more supportive of me than women, and I think that's often because of a past mentality where there can only be one or two in top leadership positions. So I think if we really want to make a change, we need to all support each other and be supportive, especially when somebody else gets a promotion, if it's another woman, even if it's not ourselves.
Well, you know, it's interesting that you asked that, Joyce, because just this conference, I was sitting in a committee meeting and looked around, and there were 30 men in the room. And there was me and one other woman. And the woman in the room, as we walked around and introduced herself, said, "I'm nobody important. I don't even matter. I just keep the notes." And as it went around the room, somebody said, "Yep, that's our girl." And then they recognized me as being a woman professional, and I thought, what's different between her and me? She's doing an important function. She's keeping notes. She's telling a story. She's helping us keep track of what we're doing. And just looking at her as a woman and me as a woman, just because I'm a little bit more technically recognized, does not change the value of her effort. And that surprised me just in this day and age.
Yes, actually. So I've recently went back to school at 47 to get my executive MBA, and I'm shocked, I guess, in today's day and age at the lack of opportunities for women as CEOs. I'm a very positive person, but I'm also very realistic, and the glass ceiling is still intact. I'm looking forward, of course, to shattering that glass ceiling, but I'm a bit surprised that we're still dealing with the issue of a glass ceiling and the lack of women who have the talent and the skills, but do not have the opportunities to fill the C-suite positions.
Well, I believe our biggest challenge is to combine wisdom with experience. Our challenge is to really look at the dumbing down of America, the acceptance of beliefs as if they were facts. We have to get over patriarchal stereotypes. We have to stop being objects. So our challenge is cultural. We shouldn't have to work harder for less pay. We shouldn't have to prop up the present circumstances. We must build influence networks and extend our influence beyond just our workplace to include a larger society. We need to build trust within the entire industry. The selection of designer facts, as coined by Leonard Pitts, is one of our challenges. In the coatings industry, we have to be careful about designer facts because we work on anecdotes. We tell stories to one another. And when some of our experts are telling stories based on a belief rather than the fact, we have to challenge it. So our challenge is experience and wisdom.
I feel like a lot of strides have been made the last 2 decades or so in women in our industry and our presence and how they're treated. So for me, coming from a generation where young girls were told, you can do everything the guys do, whether it's athletics or your career, your education, you can do everything they do. That's instilled in us, I believe now, for the most part. So the biggest challenge for the next generation is mostly when they do confront these situations, which will be few and far between, is learning the best way to handle it, because they're not going to see it very often.
I think the biggest challenge for women behind me is going to be developing those basic soft skills. Women behind me are going to be brought up in a heavy, technical-driven society, and they're going to lose touch with how to read body language of others and interact with others on a personal level. So I think that will affect some business relationships that they're going to have to develop within their career.
As women are gaining a larger foothold in various industries, more of their time is demanded. So if people do want to continue to have families and they have, let's say, both the mother and the father are holding down demanding full-time jobs, I think the largest challenge is going to be able to balance your professional career as well as your family life.
Well, one of the biggest challenges, I believe, for the next generation of women, which includes my daughter, is transforming societal norms so that individuals may apply their strengths and abilities without judgment regarding appropriateness for a specific gender. So, for instance, my greatest hope is that my daughter or my son will be liked and respected for choosing a career, raising a family, doing both, doing neither. I don't know about neither, because he better work considering we're paying for his college, but that they will be respected for the choices they make and that those are not gender specific.